This is Paige Haley from Drug for Joy, formerly of Orgy, and you're listening to the Nothing Shocking podcast.
Want to know what's going on in the world of music? Then tune in to the Nothing Shocking podcast, a non-genre based, all ages friendly rock and roll program. Join us weekly for interviews with all your favorite rock stars from the mainstream to the underground. You can find us at nothingshocking.libsyn.com or anywhere you download podcasts.
We're putting the band back together.
The numbers all go to 11.
I'm talking about bands that rock. Led Zeppelin. What about Sabbath? AC/DC. Motorhead.
Does that mean it's louder? Isn't it any louder?
Well, it's one louder, isn't it?
We're not worthy. We're not worthy.
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
I get up off the ground and raise my head. Days like this, think I should be dead. One for Satan, two for me. Let's cheat the devil, it's fun, don't you agree?
Welcome to the Nothing Shocking podcast. I'm your co-host, Jeff Untied, and with me in Dog Bowl Studio is
Coach Nez.
You can find the Nothing Shocking podcast on Libsyn or any podcatchers. Like our Facebook page or follow us on X at No Shock Pod.
You can also find the Nothing Shocking podcast on Rock Rage Radio every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. Central Time. Our sponsor is Big Strix Vinyl Records and Sports Cards, located in Rock Island, Illinois. New, vintage, and previously owned. You can find it at Big Strix. We would like to thank the Hong Kong Sleepover for allowing us to use their music for our intro and bumper ending. Tonight's guest is
Paige Haley of Drug for Joy,
formerly of Orgy. What's he promoting?
He's got a new album coming out, hopefully later this year. There's a couple singles out there, The Fall and I'm Your Friend.
He was a fantastic interview. Let's get to it.
All right, good night.
Good night. Paige, welcome to the Nothing Shocking podcast. I'd like to introduce you, my co-host, Jeff Untied.
Paige, thanks for joining us tonight.
All right. Thanks for having me, man.
So pumped up to have you. We finally got you. We finally hooked you, and you're on once and for all. So let's get into this thing. So your newest musical endeavor, the band Drug for Joy, released the band's first single, The Fall. That track is a real banger, I got to tell you. I loved it when you told me about it. Very excited to hear it. Talk a little bit more about your approach to songwriting and recording for this new musical endeavor.
Well, see, Drug for Joy started shortly after the original, the split up of Orgy. I got my first recording studio. This was way back when, but I started just tinkering around at home and just started coming up with some new ideas and was writing a whole bunch of stuff, and just one thing to another. Many years later, I always like to use the analogy that after the whole Orgy thing, I went into I fell into Jumanji. So, and while I was in Jumanji, I was writing, I was doing all these things, blah, blah, blah. The whole world was going by, but I wasn't really paying attention to it. And then I popped out, and then I had a whole bunch of songs, a whole bunch of different renditions of songs. And so I just slowly started, just recently though, I started putting, just the last couple of years, I started putting together a set of many, many songs. I just put together I picked 15 songs of those ones that I had written and put them, as an album. And then got together with some guys and started doing them live, and this is where we're at now.
Okay, so The Fall is the first track. Talk to us a little bit more about picking that song to be the first track, and talk to us about the whole creative process behind that song.
It just made sense out of all the tracks right now. I mean, it was just the first one just that came out to sound like a single. I mean, there's other ones that sound like singles as well, but that one just made the most sense. just to come out. It had the, it just had like the upbeat, kick-ass rhythm, and just like, it just has a cool topic, and it just made sense to come out the gates with that.
Fantastic.
Well, can you tell us a little bit about the other band members you have with you?
Yeah, well, I have my drummer's John Stone, my guitar player's Troy Castro, and bass player's Christian Doris. I don't know if you guys remember the band Kidney Thieves, but Christian was the bass player for Kidney Thieves.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Back in the day. So, yeah, I have him playing bass, and the other guys. Funny story, how we got together, though, was I had a different bass player at first, which a very good friend of mine that actually started the demoings of the Drug for Joy songs with me. He was actually playing with these other guys for a while, and they lost their front man, songwriter, at the time, and they had a full lockout, and they had, they had everything, like a full lockout studio and everything ready to go, but all of a sudden they were just sitting there basically without songs. So my boy Jason called me. He's all, "Hey, dude, come down to the studio, bring your songs, and let's fucking start this thing going."
Mm.
So that's how I met these guys. So it was just like walked into a thing where it was a full band, and they were just like, "What you got?" So just started throwing some songs around, and boom, one thing to another.
Cool.
Now that's
Very
where we're at.
Drug for Joy has an album worth of songs, like you said. But we're talking about like this new era of the music landscape now, where like we talked about last night briefly, releasing singles at a time opposed to releasing a full album. Can you talk a little bit more about your thoughts on that methodology of releasing singles at a time? Before
for me, it kind of it trips me out, because I mean it's cool. I mean, like back in the day, back when bands would get record deals and stuff like that, of course they would release a single, but the album would come out as well. So if you heard the single, you liked the single, you went and bought the album. Now, like, it's weird that everybody just, to me, it's just trippy that you do a release at a time, because, I'm anxious to have the whole album out,
Exactly.
So I'm sitting there going, like, fuck, I want to do it as the body of work, like when you bought fucking Back in Black or Appetite for Destruction or anything like that, you heard everything and it all made sense as an album. I kind of feel like this album that I've written it kind of does that vibe, everything kind of coincides with each other. Yep. So to do it single at a time every couple of months, is like, I don't know. I guess that's how you do it now, but it just it trips me out that that's how everybody does it now.
It feels like, as a fan, it feels like pulling teeth to me.
Right? It's like you're waiting, and what if I put out The Fall, say, The Fall's out now, but what if some people hear it and they go, "I don't really fucking like that song." So, it's like, but there's other ones on the record they might like. Exactly. So then I got to wait till they get to that single where they're going to like it. Exactly. It's kind of a, so it's like, are they even going to check back? If they already say, "Well, I already heard that one song," fuck, those guys suck. I don't even like that shit. So it's like, I'm like, well, fuck, there's other shit that's way cool too. It's just like, if that ain't your shit, then maybe there is something that you like. Yeah. So, but I guess that's why you keep pushing ads and doing all that shit. My boy Ryan's like the god of fucking social media now. So he's been slowly trying to rein me back and teach me, the ropes of how this shit goes now. You guys know Ryan, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So
go
ahead, Jeff.
Well, I mean, on the other coin, we've talked to some artists that, like, they're afraid to put their album out right away because, they're like, well, if I put it out, it might be gone tomorrow,
Exactly.
It might be,
exactly.
Yeah,
that's what's been explained to me too. It's like Ryan's always just like, dude, if you put your whole thing out now, you're just fucking blowing your wad. Then it's gone. Then you're done. Then you don't have nothing else. And I'm like, but fuck, what if it comes out and people totally dig it and they like the whole album? And I don't know. It's a weird system to me. But whatever.
Oh yeah.
So I'm going with it.
Let's talk a little bit more about, so you're known for bass with Orgy.
Mm-hmm.
But in this band, you got lead vocals and guitar. Can you talk a little bit about your different instruments and have you always played multiple instruments, or is this something new that you've been pursuing?
I have always played multiple instruments, but not live. Yeah. This is the first time, and that's what's weird. Like when I was doing all the demoing for, I guess before I even knew it was going to be Drug for Joy, but when I was writing all these songs, a lot of it, actually a few of them were supposed to be, I was writing still for some new Orgy stuff, but just didn't end up happening. So I kind of shelved it and then kind of brought it back and just disguised it for this now. But yeah, I've always played guitar. I do a weird thing with drums. Like in the studio, it's like I don't really physically play drums, and I don't like programming drums. So I basically have my drum kit set up on the keyboard to where I have my kick, my snare, my toms, and all that shit. And I kind of play it in real time. People trip out when they see me play because I'm just tapping it out, but it's like I'm playing drums, but on the keyboard.
Yeah.
So that's how I did a lot of my demo stuff. So, I mean, I have I'm a frustrated drummer because I can't actually physically do it, but I can tap the fuck out of it, So, well, but yeah, and I've always played guitar, but never in a live situation. So now, and while I was recording, I just I didn't really at first plan on singing at all, but then after a while sitting in my bedroom, I got sick of hearing it and no vocals.
Yeah.
And shit like that. So I started kind of, humming some shit and then slowly adding some words. And then, before I knew it, I had a song and I was singing on it, but I was going, yeah, but I don't know if I really want to be a singer. It's like, I've never really been a front man. I've always sang backgrounds,
yeah.
And I've always, done all that. But, for me to go out now and actually be playing guitar and singing at the same time is totally alien to me live. As soon as I strap on a bass, just like when we did the New Year's show with Julie and Kay, just this last New Year's, it's like we went out, our band played with Julie and Kay, and I went out and did my show, playing guitar and singing, and then at the end of Julie and Kay's show, we did 3 Orgy songs as an encore. So, and as soon as I put on the bass and I go for it like that, it's like, I'm home, It's like, I totally I don't even have to think about it, it's just, that's my love, the bass is my love for sure. But like I said, so I was actually looking for a singer for a while when I first started doing the Drug for Joy thing, but nothing was working out. So one thing to another, I just kind of took on the role, and that's where it's at.
And you're killing it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
One of the questions I was going to ask you was about that New Year's Eve show. Can you, tell our listeners a little bit more about that show with Julian Kay and Bar Sinister in LA?
Yeah, it was fucking absolutely amazing. I'm really appreciative to Julian Kay and Ryan and Amir for, bringing us on that, show with them. And because that was basically our very first show. So, yeah. And it was very cool. And, those guys have been helping me so much with getting all this shit going and just add me to that show. It was so fun because, it was almost like our own little super mini Family Values. It's like we all knew each other. We're just, in the same band together. We're doing this thing. It's a whole new venture together for me. And, it worked out really well. And it was really cool, even though it was pouring fucking rain, but it still, they had the place covered well enough to where, I don't know if you guys have ever been to Bar Sinister in Los Angeles, but basically where the stage is outdoors, but they have it tarped and all that shit. And I thought it was going to be like, people are going to need ponchos and shit, but it ended up to where everybody was dry and it fucking rocked. It was really cool.
That's fantastic. Well, you've been known, let's say, you've been known for your bass playing chops, during your time in Orgy, and yet you're playing guitar and lead vocals, like we've said. But can you talk about that transition, going from the bass player in the background to now you are the man, you are the front man, and you're now the rhythm and lead guitar. Talk about that transition. I know you said your bass is home, but has the transition been difficult for you, or has it been pretty much seamless?
It's pretty much, I got to say, it's been kind of seamless, but still just not as comfortable as I am, when I have my bass on. It's like, it's still, because I'm like, not only just like with bass, I'm just playing bass, but now I'm playing guitar and singing. So you got the 2 different things going on at once, you're like, juggling the fucking mind there. And sometimes it gets, I'm starting to get fully fall into the thing, but it's just also, I've never been like a really, a guy that's like, check me out, what's up? Like David Lee Roth shit, I'm not a crowd talker, and all this shit, like, come on everybody, let's get it. It's like, I just never really been that kind of guy. So for me, it's kind of hard just to be up front now and everybody's looking at you like, say something, fool, It's like, in between songs and stuff, I'm just standing there just like normal before. And then it seems like everybody's just waiting for me to like talk all this shit or say something. I'm just like, you're not going to get that. I'm gonna take the Robert Smith route.
Oh, fair enough.
Well, I guess talk a little bit more about the band's live approach, or what can fans expect at a live show from the band?
You know what? We're feeling this out, man. It's just like it's good. It's really the musicians I have. Everybody's fucking really dope. Everybody's solid as fuck. As far as any like live antics and stuff, we're still getting into all the shit. We're gonna add more lighting and more fucking all the graphics and shit that people are throwing in the background now on a screen, and we're getting all that shit together now, and we're gonna have all that shit pumped up. But like I said, we've only did one show out the gate so far, so we're still building this from the ground up.
Yeah, very exciting.
A lot of cool shit, though.
Okay, so
it's definitely an exciting time.
Yeah, for sure. So we know that obviously the big spectrum at all is that Orgy is the main cog of the family tree of Amir and Ryan went off to do Julian K and Dead by Sunrise, and you were doing now Drug for Joy. But when you take the Drug for Joy sound and you take the Orgy sound, compare and contrast the two bands and how you're similar but yet you're very different.
Yeah, well, that's the whole thing. Like when I was doing the whole venture with the Drug for Joy, when I was writing before I even knew it, like I said, before I even knew it was Drug for Joy, but when I was just writing stuff on my own, it definitely is going to have Orgy tendencies because it can't help it, because I was, pretty much one of the main writers in Orgy as well. So it's like there's a lot of tendencies of that, but at the same time, I didn't want it to be like a copycat of it. So I veered away from a lot of tones I would normally use and stuff like that, and just made it more kind of organic, if you will. Just like straight up, just guitars, bass, drums,
Absolutely.
So there does, there is some synth stuff in there and stuff like that, but not as heavy, as it was with Orgy stuff. But, I just wanted to have it to where it wasn't exactly an exact copy of it. So I definitely made it veer away from that.
Oh, so cool.
Yeah.
But it does have tendencies of it. If you liked Orgy, you're going to like my shit too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So we've heard The Fall. What do we have the next single? Do we know when that's going to be? Or is that still under wraps?
Supposedly, last time I talked to Amir, because I'm actually with Frameworks right now, so they're helping me with all my releases and doing all this stuff. So when I talked to Amir, we were talking about doing a release on Friday. So I talked to him, and that will be another song. It's called "I'm Your Friend," and so I got to talk to him again, but we'll see if it comes out Friday. But plus, we still have the release of The Fall, still doing all the ads for that. So, like I said, I'm still getting used to this whole system. So I'm always just like, well, what do we do next?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, wanted to touch upon, was it 3 years ago you suffered a heart attack? Can you give our listeners a little bit more insight to your recovery and getting back into making new music? But I guess you kind of want to raise a little bit of awareness about what happened to you so other people can identify.
Absolutely,
it.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was a trip, it's like, through the years of like, living free and, getting party on and doing all that stuff, it's like, long story short, what happened was I was at rehearsal just 3 years ago, and in the middle of rehearsal, we were sitting there going over a part, and all of a sudden I just got like completely just dizzy, sweaty, just almost losing consciousness. And my guys are like, what the fuck's wrong with you, dude? Like, dude, I know you're white, but you're really white right now. It's like you're like creepy white, dude. What's going on? And I was like, I don't know. And I just had to sit down. And then I had like they say, I had the elephant on the chest, and then my arms started going numb and all the shit. And it's like, everything my mom always told me, because it runs in my family to have fucked up plumbing, I guess. All the veins get clogged. My mom had a few stents and shit like that. So she always told me, if you ever, get fucking out of breath, and if you feel like, your arm's numb or you have any pain, go to the doctor right away, And I didn't realize before this happened that there was things that would go on before that. Like, there was some warning signs that I didn't know. Like if you're ever like doing shit, your basic tasks for the day, taking out the trash, whatever, doing basic things, and you're like sweating to death or like out of breath, it's like those could be signs that shit ain't right, and you just don't realize it. I took it as fatigue from like just hanging out partying or something and doing something. I took it as like, oh, I'm just like hungover or this or that, blah blah blah. But it wasn't the case. Now I know that. But at the time, it's like I barely got to the hospital in time.
Oh wow!
And so when I got to the hospital, they took me in the hospital, and they're like, "Sir, you're having an active heart attack right now." They hooked me up to the EKGs and all that shit, and they were just like, "Oh shit!" So they took me right upstairs and put a stent in my heart, which is crazy. But so yeah, it's this whole thing. I just wanted to say, like, for anybody out there that if you're having any trouble, like I said, with basic tasks, and you're like out of breath and not doing this shit, and you think it's just fatigue, you might want to go get checked, because I wish I would have now that I know that, But got through it.
Right. So I guess
And,
the next question would be is, since you have now recovered full recovery, what kind of changes in your life did you make?
Big diet change, a big, everything, a whole life change, actually. Cut off all the complete recreational partying, fucking, eating well, exercising, doing all that shit. Everything you're supposed to do now. But I mean, it kind of like, it sounds crazy, but having a heart attack kind of saved my life.
Yeah.
So it put me on a way more solid track.
Oh, we're so glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So, can you take us back? I think Orgy was formed, what, was it 1997?
98.
98, yeah. But can you take us back to those early days and how you guys all got together? And
Well, it was, as far as me joining up with them, I hadn't talked to Jay in a while. Me and Jay have known each other since we were like 20 from the Bay Area. And we both migrated down here, and, we kind of split ways for a while. And then one day I got a call from him, and I'm like, "What's up?" And he's like, "Dude, I'm doing this new project." He goes, "You remember Amir Rock from Rough Cut and fucking Jailhouse and shit?" I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "Yeah, I'm fucking dude." He says, "I'm doing a project with him right now. I got this other dude, Ryan, and blah, blah, blah. And we're doing a demo and Josh is our producer, Josh. At the time, we were doing the demo in his garage. And he's like, "You should come by and check it out, dude. I'm playing bass and singing right now, but I don't want to do that. I'd rather just be singing. Who else would I get to play bass but you?" And I was like,
nice.
"All right, let me come by and check it out." So I went by. They had 3 songs going at the time. And one thing to another, I said, "Yeah, let's do this." And then we just started going from there and went through a few drummers, and then finally got Bobby in there. And then the rest is history.
Oh, so cool. Obviously,
yeah, it was really cool.
You are part of that classic lineup, that Orgy classic lineup, I should say. And the for the Candy Ass album, Vapor Transmission, and Punk Static, Paranoia.
Yeah.
As you look back at those 3 albums, do you have a favorite? And on the flip side, do you have an album that you wish you could re-record?
Actually, if any of them, I would hope to do a little more on Punk Static, because Punk Static never really got to be completed the way I thought it should be myself. It started off as like, basically, that's when we were first getting all the demos and stuff together for that record, is when we had our little fallout, and then we came back together and finished that, and then we went on tour again. But so in the meantime, when we were doing all the demos for that, it's basically that album became a lot of the demo stuff that we were doing for it, like just live demo recordings, ended up being the final tracks, and then just added some shit over it and vocals and everything, and then put it out as that, under our own label at that time. So, but that one I always thought could have been finished a little different, It just seemed a little raw to me, which is kind of cool though, in a weird way. But at the same time, it's just it never seemed finished to me. But not that there's not great shit on there, and it's a lot of cool stuff, a lot of cool tracks, a lot of cool stuff. But yeah, that's the only one that I would, if I would ever want to go redo anything, it would probably be some of the shit on that. But yeah.
So if you had to pick between Candy Ass and Vapor Transmission, which one are you going to pick?
Tough one, but I would have to go with Vapor.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Vapor to me just seems like when we finally just fell totally into our groove. You know, and it's just like everything's. I just love that album, beginning to end. Not that fucking Candy Ass isn't kick ass. Candy Ass is way badass, and of course the fucking Holy Grail of Blue Monday is on there. So
of course,
that makes that album like fucking what it is. You know, it's like it's awesome. You know, but yeah, I think out of all three, I really do. I'm Vapor. I'd have to say Vapor.
And I'm going to have to agree with you 100% on the fan part of it is because the first time I popped that thing in, and it was electric. I mean, it was like slickly recorded. There's not a bad song in the entire album, and it just had that sonic punch in you in your face.
Yeah, right off the bat, you know, it just comes out kicking your fucking face, like you're saying, for sure. And yeah, there's just a lot of great material on there, you know, and I mean, we definitely put a lot into Candy Ass as well. But I mean, Vapor was the one where, especially Jay was just like really fucking. He put a lot of fucking shit into that. Like, you know, we were just me and him were living together at the time. We had the house and we had our studio in the house. So it was like, you know, he was just constantly just in there, just fucking making sure that everything was going to be like just banging, you know. So. It was cool.
Very cool.
Well, in your question earlier, you were talking about, you know, Eric had asked you about, you know, redoing one, and you were talking about not really ready to step away on some of the tracks for Punk Static Paranoia. But can you talk a little bit from your songwriting perspective as far as your time in Orgy or your time with Drug for Joy about that ability to walk away from a song when it's almost or when it's done and going, how do you know when to walk away?
Actually, I don't know if you ever know when to walk away, but you definitely know when one's working and when it's like, you know, when something's actually clicking and can be something, even if it's giving you trouble, you know, you still go, but yeah, this one fucking definitely has a vibe, you know, it's like one way or another, it's going to get finished. But, you know, it's just like, with Orgy stuff, it was always super easy for me to like, just come up with like a lot of main riffs for the songs, you know. And then, you know, the guys would take it from there, you know, it's either Jay or Ryan, Amir, or somebody would come in and just add shit to anything I would come up with, you know, it was always just like, boom, they would just fucking coat right over it and bam, it was a dope ass song. You know, I never had it to where it was like, nobody ever really brought like complete finished products as songs, except for like, I know on the first record, definitely Jay had a few songs that he already had completed, you know. But, I mean, for the most part, everybody was a big contributor in making the sound that we had.
And,
so...
You talk about, you know, Jay's got a powerful voice, and then on the flip side, the Julian K side of things, Ryan has got an amazing voice. And,
yes.
You know, if you could compare and contrast those guys' vocal styles, very different, but...
You know,
but yet very similar in many ways. Can you talk about that? Just
100%. Yeah, and actually, it's funny. You can't tell, but like especially on Vapor, there's a lot of times where Ryan's actually singing like a background part, and then to let Jay come into another part and do all this stuff, especially live. Like a lot of stuff that we do from Vapor live, they would share vocals all the time, and you can't really tell who's who. It's really cool, and even on the recordings, it's that way. But especially live, you know, I have to point out to my friends sometimes when we're watching live shit. I go, right here, boom, that's Ryan. Boom, that's Jay. And they're like, what? Are you serious? I'm like, yeah, because it was so rad that they had the capability to do that. Because I have that as well with my drummer for Drug for Joy now. When I'm doing I sing a lot higher, of course. But there's parts he'll finish off for me, so I can come over and do that, and that's what Ryan and Jay would do because they could, you know, mimic each other so well. Yes. So it was really a cool tool to have, to make it flow a lot better without having to have actual tracks or anything, you know, flowing over. You can actually just do it amongst them live. Yeah. So that was really cool. Yeah, and it's pretty trippy. Like when we did the New Year's thing, and of course, Ryan was singing the songs because it was just us four, but Ryan was singing it. He did pretty damn well, sounds pretty legit. So
he's definitely legit for sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
I was just going to ask, a little bit about your guys' live set with Orgy. I think I read you made your live debut at Edgefest, Tulsa, 1998. Do you have a
Oklahoma?
Do you have a story from either Edgefest or Family Values tour?
Dude, it's so many stories. I mean, but I do remember Oklahoma. That's the first time we met Matt Pinfield. It was fucking awesome. Cool. He was just such a cool dude, and we ended up hanging out, partying all night. We had a great time. But yeah, and that was really cool because it was like our very, very first show before Family Values, just before Family Values, and it was a pretty monstrous crowd. It was a big radio fest. So, and what was cool about it is we didn't barely have anything out yet. I don't think I think we just had released Stitches, but and Blue Monday was actually the B-side to Stitches. It wasn't even supposed to be the single. And but it was cool. It was right after we played, they had like a booth where you could go meet the band and sign and shit like that. And we had a big signing line right off the bat. It was like totally blew us away. We were like, dude, this is cool shit. It was like everybody else that was like big people that are playing and stuff, they had like great signing lines, but we were right there with them. We were like, shit, right out the gate. That's so amazing, And like, yeah. So, and Family Values was just, that's too much to tell. We don't got enough time on this. we could do a whole fucking pod on about Family Values.
That's so cool. All right,
talk about a crazy fucking ride.
Yeah,
man.
But I wanted I wanted to bring this back to Vapor Transmission because I'll be totally honest with you. Eva's hands down my all-time favorite track from Orgy. I mean,
awesome.
It was just a beautiful, beautiful song. But we had Dave Dominguez on a couple months ago, and he was kind of unsure about the story about the song, about how it was dedicated to somebody close to the band. Can you talk a little bit more about the song and how it was created?
Yeah, well, that song started out as the song's written about Josh Abraham's mom. That was our producer, and Jay's very good friend. And Josh's mom had passed. So as we were writing the song, Jay decided to kind of write it about his mother through Josh's eyes. I hope I'm getting that right, but yeah. From what I remember, there was the whole thing where Jay wanted to just, give a good gift to Josh by, through his eyes writing a song about his mom's passing. So, and the whole song started off to begin with was the bass line to that song is like a bass line that I've had since I've started playing bass, like when I was a kid. It's like a warm-up kind of bass line I would do all the time, just messing around. And we were in the studio one day with Josh, and I started playing that, just kind of getting a tone up, and started playing that riff, and he turns around and he goes, "What the fuck is that?" I'm like, "Oh, it's this riff I just played." And so he goes, "Dude, that's fucking really cool." He goes, let's fucking track that right now." I'm like, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah, dude." He goes, that's badass." And so we tracked that, and then the chorus to Eva was actually from one of the early demos that we were doing, that Jay and Ryan and Amir were doing. Mm-hmm. It was a whole different song, but Jay kept the chorus of that song and added it to that bass line. When the chorus kicks in, it's the other song that they already had with lyrics and everything. And then the rest of it, as we were writing it, then Jay started writing lyrics about Josh's mom passing. So that's how the whole thing came together, and it just made this wonderfully beautiful song.
Beautiful song.
So, yeah. Good. Really cool.
All right, so one of the things I like to do is, kind of when I'm researching for these, find something that I didn't know about, or maybe our listeners didn't know about. So one of the things I found during the hiatus was a band called Hellflower, that I believe you were...
Hellflower, yes.
With Steve Perkins on drums and Cody Bryant on guitar, and I'm probably going to mess up his names, but I didn't catch the name of the guy doing the vocals.
Church.
Church. Okay, I saw a reference.
Yeah,
to that, but
Church.
I wasn't sure if that was his name or not.
Church and I we've been friends since 90, 91. So yeah, up in the Bay Area, we used to be in a band together back then. And one thing to another, many years later, down here in LA, after right when I was still doing Orgy, he used to come over to my house all the time. And we used to fuck around, and that's some of the other side of me is the heavy shit too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like Ministry / Metallica / it's like I like to do a whole bunch of. I grew up on all that heavy shit. So we were doing a project together called Hellflower, and one thing to another, we got a hold of Steve Perkins, and Steve Perkins was looking to do a heavy side project. So, boom, we have Steve Perkins come in the studio with us, and we did Hellflower. Short-lived, but I mean, Chester was executive producer on it. He was kind of overseeing us once we actually got in the studio to do a record. So Chester was overseeing that with us, and it was a crazy time though, because I mean, I've always been a huge James fan, and what's even funnier than that, I've always told all my drummers previous to Orgy and everything, like they always had to hear the whole line was like a little more Jamesy, a little more like Perkins would do. Yeah. So everybody's just like, why? I got it, dude. Why do you keep telling me that? I'm like, because I want a fucking more Jamesy, dude. That that fucking cool vibe, And then it was the only time that I ever had a drummer to where I didn't have to tell him, do it a little more Perkins, do it a little more Jamesy, because it's him.
That's awesome. Great.
And I remember I remember tripping so hard one time in the studio because we had this one song where it required him to do the Perkins beat, that boom, like a tap, boom, tap, that cool ass fucking tribal thing.
Yeah.
And he kicked in, he starts doing it, and I'm like, me and Church are looking at each other, we're like, oh my God, he's doing the Perkins, dude. Like, what the fuck? That's so badass. So a lot of cool memories with that. Short-lived, and unfortunately it never fucking took off like it should have, but yeah, it was another cool fucking project to be a part of. That was part of me being in Jumanji, though, too, so that was weird.
Yeah. Well, you had one EP, Us, You, 3 tracks. Great. I listened to it today. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was cool shit. It was fun.
So I'm going to take us back to the pandemic. And you and Amir and Ryan got on live and recorded your acoustic version of Dreams in Digital.
Yes.
That is an amazing version of that song. And that was
fucking cool.
Was that pre-heart attack or was that post-heart attack?
That was, I think that had to have been, I don't know. I'm going to say it was pre.
Yeah.
How many? Because it was 3 years ago this coming May that I had the heart attack. So
it must have been right before the heart attack. Yeah.
Must have been right before, yeah.
Okay, so
absolutely it was. Yeah,
that version of that song is an absolute scorcher. Can you talk a little bit more about recreating that song? Badass,
dude. That was like the most coolest, simplest thing in the world. I went down there. We went to Ryan's. It's in Ryan's studio where we filmed that, and it showed up. We went through it a couple of times, and it was like never ever left, from before playing together. I mean, it was literally like no guesswork at all. I mean, it was just that flawless right off the bat. It's like we've always had that kind of connection. Anytime I get together with those guys, we play anything. It's just like there's no thought process whatsoever. It just totally comes back.
You guys should just do an album of acoustic versions. Do it all over again. It's so badass.
That would be cool as shit, actually. Yeah, I'd be down with that for sure.
So cool.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
So I got one last question for you. I'm going to get Jeff off guard here, so we can catch him off guard. So sure. I do this every once in a while, so I just want to know what you've been listening to, and then we'll tell you what we've been listening to. So,
okay. So as far as what I've been listening to, I mean, man, you know what? Stump question, because I haven't really been. You know what? I haven't been listening to anything really new at all.
It doesn't have to be new.
I mean, if I do listen to anything, it's usually, I go back to my classics, like I'm totally into like all the cool shit like Mother Love Bone and, like Led Zeppelin even and just all that shit. It's like I really don't, man, who have I been listening to that's new though? You know what? I don't have an answer.
Fair enough. Well,
I really don't.
I've been listening to, I'm going back to 1989 or 1990, Cowboy Junkies, the Trinity Sessions.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And it's just, that album is surreal to listen to. It never gets
That's
old.
Great. Yeah, never ever.
Jeff,
for sure.
All right, for me it was I was out with my brother the other night. We were talking about The Who, and he was talking about he mentioned a song called Going Mobile, and I didn't recognize it, so of course I looked it up, and it's off the Who's Next album. And that album is just a scorcher from start to finish. So, I listened to yesterday.
Who's Next was good, too.
Jamming out to a remastered version of that, and it was just kick-ass.
Oh, badass. All right.
Yeah, for sure.
So, Paige,
yes, sir.
I finally found you. It took a long time.
Yes.
It took a long time to get you on the podcast.
Dude, yeah, I just came out of Jumanji, so I'm back now. So.
I'm glad you came on.
So
everything's new and just weird and wonderful, but so.
Yeah. So before we let you go for the evening, because we're running out of a lot of time, is there anything that we left off that you would like to plug or promote?
Nothing, just Drug for Joy all the way, man. And if I can just, be looking out for all of our new singles on all platforms and eventually the whole album, so.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
That's it,
man. Right. This is how things are going to work out. Like I told you last night, and I'll tell you again. Jeff, he is the editing ninja over here, and he'll get this thing.
That's what she said.
Yeah, he'll get this thing all cleaned up. You never knew he's an accountant by day, but he's a master at this. So
awesome. So I won't sound like a stumbling idiot.
I'll do my best.
but I'll sound like
please help me on that.
Hey, we appreciate your time. It was an honor to have you.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Yeah, once again, like if you feel like this was worth your time when the album comes out, let's dive into the album track by track and break it all down. Let's do it again.
Yeah, that'd be cool, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, to sum it all up for sure.
For sure. All right, man.
Absolutely.
We appreciate your time.
Cool.
All right, we'll talk to you soon.
Brother.
Take care.
All right, good night.
Definitely.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, you guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Good night.
if they ever take from you, then you plug